The African Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims is a torture treatment center. The founders realized that torture needed a holistic approach, being that it has both physical and psychological effects. The facility of dealing with both the physical and psychological effects of torture was not available, and the founder, Dr. Nsamba himself, was tortured in the early 1980s, realized that there was this gap.
You are most welcome at the African Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims, and here is our home. You are most welcome. ACTV is a treatment center for victims of torture. We offer rehabilitation services that include medical treatment, that includes physiotherapy services, that includes psychological counseling, that includes social support, that includes legal aid services, and all that is being offered here at the center.
Wasuzocha chokanzala Nolya kuchichoka tata.
We have a multidisciplinary team that includes medical doctors, that includes psychologists, that includes social workers, that includes lawyers, includes physiotherapists, all who work together to ensure that we provide holistic rehabilitation services to survivors of torture and be able to restore their livelihoods, restore their health, so that they are able to live a more productive life here in Uganda and be of use to their families as well. Let us begin with our child care center here. So this child care center, it is important because it helps parents, mothers, fathers who have children at home, and again at the same time they have to attend therapy. So because they are very vulnerable and they don't have any caretaker at home, so as they are attending their therapy, then they come and leave their children here being attended to. Our reception, when our clients come, they are received from here, and our visitors, once they come and they meet this Maureen, who is our receptionist. Of course, even here we have all our publications that we publish. We put them into our resource center, and this resource center can be accessed by different people, including survivors who need to know about rehabilitation, partners who need to know about our work.
My name is Nasimba Maureen. I work at the reception, and this is our resource center. These are some of the forensics books, medical people use them, and the annual reports, success story books. These are the simplified versions in different languages. It is important to have the success story books because it gives energy, hope to the clients that there is hope, however much someone has lost hope. When they tend to sit down, concentrate, read through the success story books, they do have hope.
So here is office of our counseling psychologists, Miss Baker Isabili.
Hi, welcome. This is mental health, and you cannot have better life without mental health, which is affected by sometimes torture, calamities, disasters. There are a lot of things that can affect your life, which may lead you to be in need of mental health.
And here is our nurse.
Yes, I'm Angela Deneva. I'm a nurse with African Center for treatment and rehabilitation of torture victims. This is where we receive the torture victims from as a starting point, and then we assess the needs, and then we forward them to a doctor or a social worker in accordance with the needs that have been assessed.
Here we come to the office of the doctor, our ACTV doctor, Miss Potia Businji. She's our medical doctor responsible for ensuring that there is a proper assessment of our clients, produces medical legal reports which are used in pursuing justice for survivors. So please.
Hello, my name is Dr. Businji Posha. Basically, our work is to examine the patients, treat them, care for them, understand them, refer them for specialist care depending on what their diagnoses are, and then document and formulate medical reports.
Right here is our physiotherapist room where we offer physiotherapy from. And our clients, survivors, they experience a lot of disabilities, and we ensure that they go through physiotherapy sessions so that they can improve their mobility, reduce on their pain as we are providing this rehabilitation.
This client came in with a severe back pain, whereby he was walking while limping. So at the moment we are trying to at least work on the back to make sure that at least that pain reduces.
And here now I welcome you to our tailoring training center where survivors of torture are trained into skills of tailoring. They're empowered with tailoring skills for them to be able to live a more sustainable and resilient life after them going through torture. Currently we have a training class of 10 students who are getting skills on how to make clothes, different styles that can be sold, and then they gain a source of income in here. So this is one of the components, skills building for survivors of torture, which we have incorporated into our rehabilitation program, which is important in rebuilding the lives of the survivors of torture.
At the end of the day, it puts a smile on one's face when one comes through our gates to seek treatment and rehabilitation. When he or she comes, he or she is disabled, he or she has wounds, both physical and psychological, and after the treatment and rehabilitation, you see a smile back on the person's face, and that smile and those letters of appreciation we constantly get from the survivors of torture is what makes us come back the next day to continue on the work we do.
So right now we come into our legal aid clinic. In here we have the office of our legal coordinator, Miss Julie. The legal aid clinic is responsible for ensuring that survivors of torture have access to justice once they are tortured. So they do a lot of work ensuring that there is proper documentation of the cases, there is proper evidence, and then is referred to the responsible institutions which is supposed to be providing legal aid.
My name is Juliet Anango. We are a registered legal aid service provider approved by the Law Council of Uganda. And really our work here as an organization is to help survivors of torture, empower them with knowledge around torture, empower them with knowledge on the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act, and just to give them legal advice on how to institute cases of torture, how to initiate them, the processes of handling cases of torture, what offices to visit, where to lodge cases of torture, and basically that's what we do as an organization. We have had quite a number of people who have obtained justice through ACTV. And we are saying if a person who is responsible, or it is the security agency that is responsible, the police or the UPDF, the military or the prisons officer, security agencies that work for a state, you can actually initiate a civil matter against the state or against the Attorney General. Criminally, we are looking at the penalty aspect, because to many of the survivors, really, they believe that complete rehabilitation of a tortured person is also, it encompasses a component of prosecution, of successful prosecution of the perpetrator. So in most cases, when we do our rehabilitation, we treat them, we offer the psychological counseling, the social support, the economic empowerment skills. But still, if these people are seeing the perpetrators around them, they feel they have not completely healed until they see that person punished.
ACTV still remains the only torture treatment center in Uganda, and our services are at no cost to those who we treat and rehabilitate. We are a national organization, but we are not everywhere, so we see that there's still a challenge of trying to get our services to as many people as we would like to. We would really like torture treatment and rehabilitation to be mainstreamed in the hospitals and health centers. Secondly, we still have challenges of funding. There are never enough resources. And as I mentioned that earlier, that our services are at no cost, because most of the torture survivors, in any case, their livelihoods have been deprived of them because they have been tortured. So they are vulnerable, they're economically disadvantaged. So even though you put a cost to a service, they will not be able to afford. So the challenge of having enough resources to deal with this prevalence of torture in Uganda still exists.
Wasuzocha chokatata Wasuzocha chokanzala Nolya kuchicho katata